Hey there, boys and girls. Topic 3.2, the last topic for the Unit 4 mechanical systems. We're going to talk about how technology develops through change. I know I said the last one should be a quick video, and it ended up by being 25 minutes. This one should be a quick video. Let's see. Okay, so I got a couple pictures of robots here. All right, so that leads us to what led to the evolution, sorry, big word, of the sewing machine. Take a peek here. We've got an old-fashioned sewing machine here, had a crank handle. Then we had a sewing machine that looks a little bit more familiar to the one we have today. And then this one, you can't really see it, but down below there would be a pedal that you could use. And then here's a sewing machine we know and love today. Okay, so these two right here, we got power from cranking the hand, or some advantages and disadvantages of that, right? You're using our own power, that's fine. Okay, but now we only have one hand. Okay, we can only maneuver with one hand. So that's for these two. Then the foot pedal one made it a little bit better. You could control the power just with their feet underneath. There was a pedal underneath the table, and that would cause the needle to go up and down and freed up that other hand. Okay, now we have our good old-fashioned electric one. Yeah, there's still the foot pedal, but it allows you to go frontwards, backwards, those types of things. Frees up the hand. We can do a lot more with them. Okay, so technology. Technology is obviously what led to the evolution of the sewing machine. And especially with this one, the big technology was electricity. Okay, so what led to new technologies and electricity? Electricity is one of the big things that led to a whole bunch of new discoveries in technology. Just think about everything we have at home. Okay, think about everything that we have right now that you're using, your phones or your computers, your laptops, whatever you're using, they all require electricity. Whether they get the electricity from a battery, whether they get the electricity from being plugged in the wall, things that are rechargeable, it all stems from electricity. Thinking outside the box, without our electricity, we would not have an electron microscope. So typically when we say think about not having electricity, the first thing that doesn't pop into your mind is electron microscope. Okay. But the electron microscope, that opened up a whole new world of things that weren't visible with the human eye. There might be a little bit of a virus. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but there's a virus going around that's causing us to have online learning. Do you think they could go and take that picture of those viruses and whatnot with just a normal microscope? You need to have some of these really high-tech microscopes to be able to zoom into something so small. Okay, so sometimes new discoveries, they're discovered from research that wasn't even related. Okay, some of you may have heard of the theory of the post-it note. Okay, the glue for the post-it note, that had nothing to do. They weren't trying to create post-it notes. But another example is the particle accelerator. So some of you might be watching, some of you might like comic book shows and whatnot. There's one called The Flash, which this guy, he runs really fast. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but that was a big giant particle accelerator experiment that got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it blew up. Okay, and a whole bunch of waves went all over the city, and it hit this guy, and now he runs really, really fast. Well, that's not what a particle accelerator is for. Okay, that's not what it's designed for. That's just science fiction. But the particle accelerator is actually a huge machine that breaks up atoms and other small particles. And to do this, you need a lot of electrical and magnetic energy. Okay? Because of the particle accelerator, uh, and because of some discoveries made with studying the particle accelerator, we were able to create, or scientists, I would never have done it, created the maglev, which are trains that actually run on electricity and magnets. They sort of hover, run on electricity and magnets, and they're pretty fast. Okay, they go up to 350 kilometers an hour. Take a look in your textbook. There's a pretty good picture in your textbook of the maglev, and 350 kilometers an hour. Think about that if we had it out here from Calgary to Edmonton. It's approximately 300 kilometers. Okay, we'd be able to hop a train, get from Edmonton to Calgary in less than an hour. Okay, so those are technologies that are out there, and that was a technology that it wasn't intended to happen because of the particle accelerator, but it did. Okay, and that's how a lot of technologies actually happen. They're oopsies. With the advance of electricity, our lifestyles also changed. Things got a little bit easier. Okay, we started talking about how the light bulbs, came out, and televisions. Our lives got better when electricity came. Our lives got better. Okay, so these changes in human society, with life getting better, that also led to new technologies. Okay? And the example that's really easy to talk about is robots. Okay, when you think of robots, when I thought of robots when I was a young kid, robots were like Star Wars, like R2D2 and 3PO, or all those science fiction movie things. Okay, and there's thought of like robots. They don't belong here. But today, robots are used everywhere. Some of you probably have some in your houses. Okay, they're not what you see in the movies. Okay, they're not like these big bulky things that look like humans walking around. There are some robots that look like that. Don't get me wrong, but typically the robots that are in use today, they're not like that. Okay, the word robot actually comes from a Czech word, uh, robotnik, which actually means workers or slaves. And the reason robots were actually designed or created was to replace human workers. So with technology booming and assembly lines going full tilt, there were a lot of really boring jobs, putting knobs on things that, sure, you could apply, you could get people to do, but it was so much easier just to get a robot or a machine to go and twist a knob, okay, onto something. So today, though, robots do everything from so that yeah, the robots do those boring, mindless jobs, but they also go and they build cars, okay, as well as perform surgeries. Now, you might be a little worried. I don't want a robot performing a surgery on me, but there are some very simple procedures where a steady hand, the robot hand, is so much more steady than a human hand, and it's not like humans have nothing to do with it. The humans are controlling what happens, but it's the robot hand doing the incision, doing the inserting, those types of things. So robots are everywhere. Yeah, I've got one downstairs. It vacuums my floor. I teach a class on robotics or the EV3 robots. If you've been in my room or if you're in the class, you see that we have those robots and they do a whole bunch of neat things. So robots have an anatomy, and I'm copywriting a picture here of R2D2. Actually, I'm not copywriting it. It said it was safe for reuse. Okay, so all robots have a basic anatomy, and I've thrown the R2D2 here because it sort of serves the purpose. Okay, all robots have a body. So if you take a look at the robot here, we've got a big giant metal body on R2. Okay, some robots, like the robots that we have in our class, the EV3s, they have a body that we put together using Lego. Okay. So they all have a main core body, and those bodies look different from one robot to another. That's where Star Wars is so great. They have so many robots, and they all have different bodies. Okay. They also have motor devices. Our robots in my class, they have motors that you can attach the wheels to, and they typically all they do is spin. Okay. R2D2 has the same thing. He has motors down on his legs down here. He's got a motor up here that causes him to go up and down. The newer movies, he can actually has little motors that go up and he can fly, motors that twist his head, all those fun things. So there's motor devices. They also have a power source. Okay, the robots that we have in class, they all have little batteries. You can use either six AA's or you can use a rechargeable battery. I don't know if you remember Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. They're on Dagobah, and poor Luke and just stuck looking for Yoda, and he plugs R2 in. R2 needs some power, so he plugs them into a little generator. So they need their power. If they don't have power, they're going to shut down. So there's probably a battery in there somewhere. They have sensors. Okay, our robots in class, we have sensors that detect distance, they detect sound, they detect color. There's a whole bunch of different sensors. R2 up here, he's got sensors, right? In the movies, he's like a character. He's like an alive character, but he's just a robot, and he just senses things all around. He senses the temperature outside. If you remember again from Empire Strikes Back, he said, "Oh, it's too cold out there, and Skywalker's going to die." Those types of things. They also have output devices. Our robots in class, you can make them, some of the creative kids have made them talk. They go and they have a race and they say, yay, and they complete their jobs, or maybe they make little happy faces on their screens. R2D2, he's got sensors, he's got lights that are lighting up and whatnot. He has the way he communicates, the chirps and the sounds. Those are all output devices. They have a microprocessor. That's the big brain, right? They've got the computer in them. Our robots in class, that brain is called the brick. It's just a rectangular device, which we put all the information we want that robot to do, and he goes and does it. R2D2, the same thing. Big difference between Star Wars robots and our robots are doesn't seem like there's constant programming going on in the R2D2. The Star Wars robots are constantly learning. Our robots in class, they will do whatever we tell them what to do. Okay, I love teaching that class because so many times kids will come up to me and they'll say, Mr. Profit, my robot's not doing what I'm telling it to do. And I'm like, oh, you're wrong. Your robot's doing exactly what you're telling it to do because you're the one doing all the programs. Those robots don't think for themselves. You plug the stuff into the computer, you hit download, and the robot goes and does it. If it doesn't do what you wanted to do, that's your fault. You screwed up. You need to go back and tweak it. That's why I love teaching it. It's so hands off for me. Oh, there was one more thing I missed. Power source. Okay, going back to the power sources again. Sorry, this might be a quiz question. That's talking about it. Some robots. Okay, think about the robots that are on Mars, the Mars rover, and things like that, or some robots where they don't have the ability to go and plug themselves in. They might go and have some solar panels on them. Okay, what's the purpose of the solar panel? Obviously, if the sun's shining down, the sun's shining, it's rejuvenating the robot, giving that robot that energy. Okay, so yeah, that's a test question. Hint, hint, hint. One of the reasons why it's really important to come and watch these videos. What else led to new technologies? Almost done here, guys. As mentioned in previous sections, the environment is important when considering devices, considering technology. And when we're considering or creating new technologies, of course, we need to keep that environment in mind. I'm sure a lot of you can think about different devices that maybe you saw on YouTube or whatnot, where they're going around and they're helping the environment, robots helping the environment. Um, there's one that I believe it's in Australia. I'll see if I can find the video, I'll throw it on YouTube. But these two students, probably a few years older than you guys, created these little robots that you pop them into the ocean. They go around and they're kind of like a vacuum cleaner, and they're sucking plastic and things like that out of the ocean. That's a big, big problem nowadays, the amount of plastic that's in the ocean. And they're trying to solve, or it's like they're trying to solve the unsolvable problem. How do we get this plastic out of the ocean? They also use skimmers to help collect the oil on water bodies. Again, oil is something that's less dense. If you think back to the first unit, it's less dense than water, so oil floats. So they throw these robots, these skimmers in that skim around the surface of the area where there's these oil spills, and they're sucking in and absorbing that oil. Okay, so great inventions there. There's also some that reduce exhaust in vehicles. We're hearing of electric cars like crazy nowadays, right? That was unheard of when I was a kid. But when I was a kid, there was technologies that were used to help reduce the amount of carbon dioxide that gets put out, or the amount of exhaust that gets put out into your vehicles. So that is an ongoing study. Okay, and the next one, biodegradable plastics. This isn't a machine, but there's technologies, there's products coming out such as biodegradable plastics. So plastic bags, which are terrible. A lot of stores are getting rid of plastic bags anyways, but some of them that do have plastic bags, they're using plastic bags that are biodegradable, that if you throw them out, when you throw them out, the sun beating down on them, it increases the rate at which they biodegrade. Some of you have dogs, you walk your dogs, right? Poop bags, that's a big thing. Go to the pet stores, the poop bags. You can buy biodegradable poop bags. So when you're picking up that lovely poop and you're tying it up, you don't have to throw it in the garbage. You can actually throw it in your compost. Okay. This will be an ongoing issue as time goes on. Environment is always something we need to worry about, always something we need to take care of. It gets politicized so much, especially now you're hearing it. I'm not saying my view, but I'm thinking you guys have an idea. Okay. But maybe some of you, again, someday will come up with something that's going to help save the environment and make life so much easier for all of us. And like I said in the last video, you're going to win that Nobel Prize, and you're going to be up there, a hero for the world, and you're going to go and get that prize. And I don't know if they have a speech, but if they have a speech, you're going to, like, I don't want none of your money. Okay, don't give me your money. You guys earned that money with all this hard work. But you're going to get up there and you're going to say, I'd like to dedicate this to my grade 8 science teacher who made these really, really informative videos that were not boring at all, weren't putting us to sleep at all, especially the ones that were 25, 30 minutes. And he inspired us to go out and create these inventions and better the world so that it's better for all of us. And we don't have to worry about ruining the world anymore like our parents did and their parents did. We are making things better. Okay. And yay. That's it, boys and girls. That's the end of the unit. Okay. I hope it was somewhat enjoyable. I know I got a little upset with your engagement in these videos and then writing those quizzes. I would like you guys to go one more unit to go. Okay. 4 more sections. I want you guys to buy in. I want you guys' grades to go like this. Okay. So if you have any questions, email me, give me a shout, message me, come to my Zoom sessions. We'll get through this together. We're almost done.